Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to This Week in Bitcoin. Today is May the 5th, 2017, Cinco de Mayo, if I remember correctly. Anyway, let us jump right into this show. We have guests coming from all around the world. We have a lot to talk about because obviously the Bitcoin price has been going wild. Everybody's price has been going wild. Mitchell, I can't pronounce his last name, Lorio. He's in Portugal. He is the Steemit dude. He's in charge of marketing over there. Lorian Gamarov's down in Johannesburg, South Africa. You all know him, legendary. Eugene Forrest. He's got his own Bitcoin channel that you are probably familiar with, Bitcoin and Coffee. Welcome to the show, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Let's start off with this here. Eugene, tell me, what are your thoughts about these last 2 days when Bitcoin reached the $1,600 mark? What does it mean to you? What do you see going on here?
As I see Bitcoin coming up to the $1,600 mark so quickly, I see it being an amazing thing. I see that this being an opportunity for people that are trading to be able to take profit in this and be able to grow their Bitcoin so that later on they can use it as an advantage to retire or just stop working altogether.
That is a positive. Tell us what's going on with Bitcoin in South Africa, Lorian. Is it anything different? Is this causing like a craze down there that it says 1,600, or are people just not as enthused as they might be here in America?
No, they're definitely getting crazier. I mean, for us now, one Bitcoin is over 20,000 Rand, and that's a big psychological thing, you know, getting to 20,000. So more and more people are hearing about it. It's becoming, you know, it's almost becoming mainstream. I think the problem still, though, is just how do you get them? Most people say, well, okay, I like this idea, but where do I get them? But just on that price, you know, you could see that there's been a lot of money parked in these altcoins. And since the scaling, you know, hiccup that we got through all that, I think now that that people are feeling a little bit more comfortable that the status quo is going to maintain. Maybe there'll be some kind of compromise, but at least there's no imminent time where we're going to have this, you know, Bitcoin Unlimited coming on. I think that's making people a little bit more comfortable. And when it comes to Bitcoin, you know, anything good or anything bad can radically affect the price. And I think more people are starting to move that money. And we saw how the altcoins dropped over the last couple of days up until recently. And I think that money is now starting to flow back into Bitcoin. And of course, you know, that Bitcoin market cap is small. So when there's a small amount of money moving in, the price tends to reflect that. And I think you tweeted it out or mentioned it, Adam, that there's that FOMO. You know, as soon as the price starts looking good, you know, people want to get in. And, you know, we have that kind of fractal that's been in the price over the last 7 years or so, where there's been these massive spikes and then plunges. And I think it was in Cyprus, you know, when we had that $250 spike, that pattern has been reflected again. And if you just look at the pattern of the price, you know, if we go back and we think that history is rhyming here, it just makes sense, you know, if we believe in that fractal pattern recurring, that the price should start shooting up. And I think, you know, that's also starting to make people think, you know, this is the time to get in. And of course, it's going to create a lot of frenzy, and the price is going to go higher. So I think that's kind of what we're looking at right now.
I want to remind everyone that all of my guests, their pertinent links are below if you want to check them out. Also, I'm in Cyprus right now. I still am talking like I'm in America. I'm an American in Cyprus. But let's go over to our other European member of the board here. Mitchell, tell us, what in Portugal, is there a fear of missing out? Are you getting that feeling? And what do you think about these altcoin spikes too? Because Ethereum hit $100 this week.
Well, first things first, I'm a Canadian.
Oh yeah, yes, you're a Canadian, Western Canadian in Europe. I don't know what I said. I said I'm an American in Europe.
Whatever.
You're a Western Canadian. Yes, so continue.
To be honest, I'm going to be the wet blanket here on the business perspective, because I'm very, very concerned with all these price rises, and they're not going to stop. So what looks like has happened is the market might be reversing its trend. So the market might be moving out of the bearish trend that we've seen since 2013 and moving into a new bullish trend. And all the work that's been done in the space since then is finally percolating into the outside world. This means that a lot of the traditional behavior we've seen in the markets in terms of crypto trading are going to change. We saw this with Ethereum, where the standard tactic of buy the rumor, sell the news didn't pan out. Instead, we had a massive pump, which means a lot of money is flowing in, money that's not necessarily familiar with how the markets have operated until this point. So much money, in fact, that it's changing the nature and the function of these markets. So I look at this situation, and my first thoughts is .com bubble. This is where we're going. And we are in a bubble, and most of these projects are overvalued, but that doesn't mean it's going to stop. So I am definitely concerned. In Portugal, there's still limited activity, although all my tech friends, of course, are now especially curious about the space. But I was giving a presentation at the Lisbon Chamber of Commerce the other day, and we had a lot of interesting people there. And I was surprised by both the unsophistication of the incoming investors, people talking about buying, Ethereum shares. This is the level of knowledge that's in the space. Bitcoin shares. It's like, hold on, guys, you don't understand what you're dealing with. But there's a new excitement starting to percolate in the top layers in terms of the more sophisticated investors and traders. And it scares me. Things are happening, and we are not prepared. We're not prepared.
Yeah, we're entering a new realm here. Eugene of Bitcoin and Coffee, what do you think? Is there an altcoin bubble going on right now? What is your opinion on that?
I don't know if I necessarily would say there's an altcoin bubble going on. I think there is a lot of the fear of missing out, though. I think that we're seeing people looking at the price of Bitcoin going up and thinking that they missed out there, and that Bitcoin's not going to double, where you're watching Ethereum and all of these other cryptocurrencies double, and people are wanting to, they're wanting to get their money quick. Because when you come into this space, you start seeing what's happening, and you think, oh, in a few days or, in a couple months, this is going to take over. And then when you see this price shoot up like this, you think, oh, well, this isn't going to quite happen the way I want. So then you start investing into all of these altcoins.
Yeah, that's a very good point there. Eugene, do any of you guys have a rebuttal to that? Just wait, do you guys have a rebuttal to that? Anything to say, add on to that altcoin thought? I thought Mitchell was going to say something.
Yeah, I'll comment. Eugene, when we look at that kind of market behavior, that's all the signs of a bubble. So we have irrational investors who don't understand the space, flowing incredible amounts of money after these assets purely on speculation. Like, that's a buck that's going to come due sometime down the line, and it's not going to be pretty when it does. That doesn't mean we're not going to float a lot higher. I'm not saying that. I think we are. But if that's like the definition of a bubble, and we're not even at max capacity.
No, all right. I think that there's a series of new investors that are coming into the space, and they're investing a lot of their money, and that's what we're seeing and hearing. But separate behind this, there is also major corporations and foundations that are investing in it, and the new technology that's happening with these cryptocurrencies are going to carry it beyond what's happening with just these new investors. So it's going to grow faster than what this bubble is happening with the new investors.
I want to clarify one thing. When you guys are saying bubble, are you more referring to the altcoins or to the Bitcoin here? I believe you're talking about altcoins, although we have unsophisticated people getting into Bitcoin also, definitely. So clarification there. Anyone?
Go ahead.
Sure. I don't think that a lot of the. I mean, of course, speculators are trading these swings, but I think there's a lot of new money coming in. The people I speak to at the conferences I'm at, it's new investors, and it's long-term investors. It's not just short-term speculators, and of course they're the ones who are going to be in and out of the different currencies. So I think that a lot of what we're seeing now, of course, is money coming out of those alts from the traders, but I do feel that there is a significant amount coming in from new people trying to get into the space, thinking this is a long-term investment and are unsophisticated and not necessarily wanting to make a fast buck by trading on the ups and downs. So I think the money that we're seeing now in Bitcoin, most of it probably is from the alts, but there's definitely new money coming in. That's just based on the crowds that I speak to. So I don't think it's a bubble. I don't think Bitcoin is in a bubble. I think Bitcoin is undervalued. Especially considering global macroeconomic trends. So I certainly wouldn't call Bitcoin a bubble.
I wanted to clarify that I'm definitely not saying Bitcoin is in a bubble here. I think some of these altcoins are definitely are being pumped up. We're on the third and second tier ones. They're bubblicious, definitely. First tier ones, we're on the verge of something possibly. There's a lot of people that now have access to Litecoin and Ethereum that probably did not before, and are just piling in. So, I mean, I don't know how, I think it was destiny that Ethereum was going to get to 100, as Tor Demeester said on this very show. I wanted to remind everyone to pound that like button, pound that like button. But speaking of altcoins, I wanted to jump very quickly to Mitchell. Have you noticed that the Steem-backed dollar it's supposed to be at $1, and it got as high as $1.50. Now it's like in the $1.30s. Tell us what's going on over there.
So earlier this month, it hit $7, right? I think it was 7. So the Steem-backed dollar is an interesting case. It's one of the attempted stable coins in crypto, and the Steem-backed dollar works depending on the volume. So what happens if the SBD, if the Steem-backed dollar is out of whack with its value, then more SBD is printed, essentially, is created by the inflation mechanism to bring the cost down, and there becomes an incentive for people to go in and market make that Steem dollar. So everybody who's making Steem dollars today, and there's more being created as a result of the discrepancy in price, can take their Steem dollar and arbitrage it right off the bat, and they'll make an extra 50% extra. The problem is the Poloniex troll box, pumpers and dumpers, they don't care. They see a coin, they see activity, people jump on the boat, they get FOMO, they think it's going to go somewhere. Almost nobody really understands. Outside the Steem community, how many people understand how the Steem dollar works or what's its purpose? So they pump it thinking this is going to be a good idea. But of course, the market forces are going to bring it back down because it's designed to be a stable coin. It's designed to be arbitraged.
Dude, that is a great explanation, actually. The Poloniex pumpers, I mean, have no clue and just see something going up and they're buying into it. I thought, and this is a follow-up question for you, it was because of Tether having trouble. That Tether, which is also supposed to be tied to the dollar, got down to 91 cents. By the way, it is now back up to like 95. And at the same time, the Bitfinex price of Bitcoin is getting to be a little bit more normal again, getting closer to Bitstamp. So I just said a mouthful there. Mitchell, do you have any thoughts on that?
Sure. So first, a comment on the Steem dollar. The Steem dollar was not designed to be a stable coin to compete or to participate in non Steem activity. It was made for the Steemit community as a convenient way of denomination and to make sure that there's an easy way of moving in and out of fiat valuation with Steem power as well. So what's going on with Tether is completely different. With Tether, people are they're getting over their fear, right? There's fear in the markets that Bitfinex was going down, that Wells Fargo and US regulators were going to nail them to the wall, and that the Taiwanese were going to stab them in the back. And that didn't happen, or at least it hasn't happened yet. We don't know. So the price of Tether is normalizing, and people are not arbitraging quite as aggressively. A lot of people made a lot of money arbitraging Tether in the last few days. Think about it. Like the sheer scale. I'm sure some market makers were making millions off it. But that's all starting to normalize as fear goes down.
Excellent. Well, so for some reason, my picture just went away. I don't know how that happened. Eugene, also, you're making a little bit of noise on your end. You keep on popping up. You don't type or make noise on your end. It was coming up, messing something up. Anyway,
Adam, have you mentioned on your show, I haven't seen the last few shows, but have you mentioned Coinbase taking Litecoin now, accepting Litecoin?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. I just got a little thrown up. Can you guys hear me, actually? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I just want to, and you can see me now too. Okay, we had a little bit of issue there, guys. So, where was I going with this? Anyway, Eugene, do you have any thoughts on how the Bitfinex prices now seems to be dropping and seems to be normalizing?
I don't know. Actually, I think that this is a good thing. We shouldn't have different prices in Bitcoins between the different exchanges, and seeing it come down to one consistent price between them is what we expect. We expect Bitcoin to be one price unanimously across to everybody.
All right. Well, let's talk about real quick. As Lorian brought up, it was an exciting week for Litecoin. Also, it got on the Coinbase. Obviously, that's some big news from this week. What were your thoughts on that, Eugene? And then let's go to Lorian after that.
I mean, it was well expected that, you know, Litecoin was coming on, everyone knew, and then it did exactly what everyone thought it was going to do. As soon as it came on, the price pumped up, and then we came back down to a stable price. The next thing is going to be is what happens as SegWit activates. You know, we've seen the price stabilize at $22 and it's slowly climbing upwards again. So when SegWit activates, it's going to take a while till we see some, you know, some kind of something out of it. So what is everyone going to dump and the price is going to drop back down? Because I mean, we sat at $4 for such a long time. Or are we going to continue along and continue to see the price increase because people know that further down the road, when Lightning Network and other things come on this, that it's going to be worth so much more than what it is now?
Lorian, your thoughts on Litecoin?
Well, I think everyone who likes Bitcoin should love Litecoin. You know, they're blazing a trail and they're showing us how, you know, how it can be done. You know, the price, you know, when it comes to trading Litecoin as a you know, investment, you know, that's a bit tricky. You know, I'm a bit of a maximalist when it comes to Bitcoin in terms of a store of value. But you know, if Litecoin does what Bitcoin can't and it succeeds, then it certainly becomes, you know, a viable alternative. So the price should reflect that. So I love it. I love seeing Litecoin, you know, growing, and I'm so pleased that they are doing this. I think though it might get to a point where with all this experimentation, maybe something will come up. Who knows? You know, there's reason, but Core is conservative. You know, they don't want to rock the boat too much, take risks. But Litecoin is that sort of, you know, little cousin that we can, you know, push out into the river and see how it floats. So I'm pleased to watch it, and I wish it the best so we can, you know, see how it goes.
Excellent. Mitchell, give us your Litecoin thoughts real quick, but then give us a full throttle update about Steemit, because people are asking about Steemit in the chat.
Sure. So the first comments I'll make will be about Litecoin, of course. I'm really not one of the Litecoin experts. I've been viewing it from the outside as a non-community member, so probably you other gentlemen know more than I do. But from my perception of it, it seems like some interesting things are going on. The value proposition for me wasn't clear until the recent gentleman who's leading this Litecoin push in China and dealing with the miners really elucidated out in one of his Medium posts, where he said he wants it to be the little cousin that can hook up with Bitcoin on the Lightning Network to essentially increase the throughput on cryptocurrencies. And the moment I saw that, a little light bulb went on in my head, and I'm like, now the experimentation makes sense. Now that their value proposition makes sense. I don't know if it's going to work out. I really have no clue. I don't have any experience with the community there, but something interesting is happening, and we should definitely be paying attention because their team is working hard and getting stuff done. All now right. For Steemit, what's to say? I mean, it really depends what people want to know. Do we have any questions in the, in the chat?
There was a specific question. When's it going to hit $4 again, Steem? But that's you really can't answer that. Tell us some current events. Tell us how the marketing is going. How the you know, because you were on the show a few weeks ago. Sure. People want to definitely want to update on what's going on.
Sure. So obviously we started the crowdsourced initiative for those who are on Steem, and it's been a big success so far. The community has really come together to look at the problems and potential opportunities thereby and to make contributions and suggestions. A lot of things are already happening that is not necessarily evident on the surface, and some of them are. For example, there are new services that will be coming up that will be using the Steem blockchain, such as competitors to the Polish version of Dig, which is, of course, dominates Polish social media. That would be Streamy. Among there's a Steepshot, a Belarusian project, to create a fund managing app. There's a variety of other apps in progress that are using the Steem blockchain. So that's just on that side in terms of what's being made. We're breaking out, going into the social media space and saying, look, it's not just about Steemit. Okay, it's about a variety of other projects. In addition, product development continues as well. We've changed the onboarding process to deal with a lot of the fraud, which has been going smoothly. Our growth is up day upon day upon day, so things are increasing fairly quickly, surprisingly quickly. Our East Asian and South Asian growth is hitting never-before-seen levels. We have a surprisingly large Korean community coming together. There's a lot of things happening all at once. It's difficult to keep track of all of them. We're just doing our best and making sure that everything stays on track with the strategies that we have going. Someone
in the chat, actually, you actually referred to Charlie Lee before, and thank you for that Steemit update. You referred to Charlie Lee when you're talking about Litecoin. Somebody in the chat said, Adam, please bring Charlie Lee on the show. Guys, check the archives. He's been on the show twice before. He follows this show all the time. So he might return soon, but if you want to see him on the show, he's been on the show. So do check out the archives and pound that like button right now if you like the archives and you like to do research. All right, good Steemit update there. As you know, I love to post my stuff on Steemit. I think it's a great way for people who are being demonetized on YouTube to go about their business. Is there any update on your reach out to the demonetization of the YouTube people?
Sure. So we've been working. We have a slowly increasing number of YouTubers. We're focusing on getting our key propositions for improving the product up to speed. And that's, of course, going to be redoing a lot of the UX and making a better social product, and of course, communities, giving a way for communities to give a space for their followers and then monetize activity going on there, so that it becomes they're incentivized to support the development of those ideas, whatever their community or happens to be. With regards to bringing people on, we've seen new influencers of a variety of kinds come over. So, for example, we now have a few podcasters coming on, which of course is great because monetizing podcasts is really hard. We have more YouTubers, more videos being posted to the platform. We know that word is already spreading around there. We were hoping to get our communities up before the YouTube community really started to pile in, but there is this increasing trend happening primarily through organic growth. So people are discovering Steem on their own. They're discovering it on their own. There are some conversations with the community and with us and with some of them, but a lot of them are just coming in organically and deciding they want to participate. For example, we had an important an actor who's been in a variety of films come on recently. You can check Steem for that. His material is quite popular, and he's just one. So things are starting to grow at an unexpected pace.
Well, this is good. We appreciate the update, and I appreciate when you come on the show. Both these other guests of mine are also on Steemit, which is nice. And I want to ask Lorian, not a Steemit question, to kind of move into something. Do you have any stories of the week from South Africa? Anything you can tell us special about Bitcoin in South Africa, or just any story of the week that pertains to Bitcoin? Because people love to hear the South African perspective, what is going on in South Africa with Bitcoin.
Well, can I start with I'll think of what's going on here. But the one thing that I'm very interested to see is this, the Bitcoin ransom thing. Have you seen that Netflix got Bitcoin ransomed? They were held to ransom. Some hacker stole some episodes of Orange is the New Black, and then held a Netflix to ransom with a Bitcoin ransom. And now that we have something like Bitcoin, it becomes a lot easier for hackers, instead of just to get into a system and mess things around and steal stuff. They can actually really cause a lot of damage. That's happened to me. I've had a server that got the database all got corrupted, and they told me they'll only give back the data if I pay them Bitcoin. So I think what's happening, what Bitcoin is doing is it's kind of forcing companies to think really hard about their security. So even though it's a horrible thing that Bitcoin, that when people think about Bitcoin, they think about drug dealers and money launderers. Now they're thinking about hackers that ransom your data. I know a lot of people, even in South Africa, who have been hacked and have been held to ransom and are buying Bitcoin for that very reason, to pay those hackers. So it's a horrible thing. It's terrible, but I think coming from a software engineering background, it's almost one of the things that are going to be strengthening security in an ongoing way. I think Bitcoin is going to have a positive effect in that way, although unfortunately to the detriment of its image. Where Bitcoin now just becomes this ransom thing. So I just wanted to mention that Netflix now has having to fork out Bitcoin to stop the hackers spreading their videos.
Oh yeah, it's a use case for Bitcoin. All these companies are going to have Bitcoin ransoms if they don't have good security. It's unfortunately it's going to kind of give a negative image, to Bitcoin, but it will increase the demand of Bitcoin.
There's a lot of irony there.
Eugene, do you have any opinion on that, or any interesting story you want to tell about Bitcoin?
I had read that article too, and the first thoughts to my mind is that this is exactly what we're going to expect to see. Is as cryptocurrency is growing, there's a lot of devious people out there, and they're going to try to find ways to take your money. So, I mean, you have to protect yourself. And that's why on Bitcoin and Coffee, at the end of every show, I'm always like, you need to keep your Bitcoin safe. Everybody who has more than a couple $100 in Bitcoin needs to purchase a hard wallet.
Dude, that's what I say. Get that Trezor, people. Affiliate links are below this video. You can get all sorts of stuff at Crypto HW Wallet. Hey, that's a nice segue there.
But you don't even have to do that. You don't even have to spend that money. You know, it's fairly simple. You print out your private key on a piece of paper, put it in a shoebox.
It's not as secure, and it because for a second your private key is exposed, and then it's not as easy to get your Bitcoin off of there as it is to get off of a hard wallet. But the point, it's much better to do what Lorian just said than to keep your money on these exchanges. Really bad. We've talked about Poloniex craziness today, Bitfinex craziness today. You never know when these honeypots are going to get hit.
But there are new exchanges coming out that will solve a lot of those problems.
Mitchell, I have a question about the future for you, since I think you started the show. You were saying you were a bit pessimistic. I think mostly when it was coming to altcoins, you know, there's a bubble in your opinion. Where do you see Bitcoin going? I think it's down to around in the 1500s right now. Obviously, these are huge price jumps going on. Can you make a prediction where Bitcoin's going to be next week at this time, or is it just
predictions get people screwed? But and of course, I'm not a financial advisor, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. But I look at the market. I think 2,000 is conservative. I think 3,000 is feasible, and that's part of the thing that concerns me. Because the market, I think Bitcoin is undervalued as well. It's not in a bubble while the alts are. So all this money is flowing into Bitcoin. People are starting to understand its potential utility and how it could do that. And then that money will flow back into the alts, which sets us up for a dramatic rise and promises that cannot be fulfilled, which sets us up for a crash, which will also then crash Bitcoin. Obviously not to the degrees we've seen previously, because the trend and cycle is very clear. This has happened before. But I would have much preferred gradual growth. You know, 0.5% a day is already plenty fast. A gradual growth would have done the whole community a lot better, but there's no doubt that we're going a lot higher than we are right now.
All right. Do you have a number down there, Lorian, and do you have any South African perspective?
Well, interest is growing, that is for sure. People, the only reason that the price isn't high and there's more demand is, as I said, it's just so difficult for people to get Bitcoin. As soon as companies come out with easy ways of doing it, I'm trying to do that right now, where you can buy Bitcoin with cash over the counter. That's going to be where you start seeing growth, and there's demand. I mean, in South Africa, just about everybody you speak to, especially millennials, they are very excited about Bitcoin. You know, they just have a strong sense for it. And also, we've got millions of Zimbabweans in South Africa always sending money, you know, across, and back to Zim. And you've spoken to Tawanda. You know, we have a relationship now, and we're going to be facilitating payments through there. So it's very exciting. If you're in Africa, it's extremely exciting space to be involved with Bitcoin. You can just see how it's going to, as soon as, you know, the kind of Facebook of Bitcoin comes along here, you're going to see massive growth. The demand is just waiting there in the wings. So it's a really fun place to be. You know, you can see what an impact is going to make. So it's great. It's great. It's great. A lot of opportunity here.
Good. Nice shout out to Tawanda there. The three of us were all together in Zimbabwe back in November. That was an awesome time to be alive, man. Perhaps we'll all reunite there again soon enough. Eugene, is there anything that I've left off? Is there any story you wanted to share? Any thoughts about price? Anything? The floor is yours.
Oh, I don't know, Adam. I think that we're going to see a lot of volatility right now in Bitcoin. As far as the price, I was thinking next week we'll probably see somewhere around 1750, but I do expect the price to be dropping up and down within the $100–$150 range throughout the day. You know, for the next several days. Litecoin, like I was saying, I think that everybody needs to be leery of what's going to happen when Cyclic actually does activate. And, you know, as always, keep your Bitcoin safe however you can.
Do you have a favorite altcoin? That you've never been asked that on this show before, so I think that some people are wondering.
You know, with the way that I go about it is I'm putting Bitcoin away for retirement. I think that this is the best thing I can do. And I just invest in whatever altcoin I think I can sell later on to get more Bitcoin. You know, because I don't like to take money out of my paycheck to buy Bitcoin. I just want to make my Bitcoin make me more Bitcoin so that I don't have to retire on the money I'm making now.
All right, that is a very good point. Buy and hold Bitcoin. Buy and hold Bitcoin. That's the only thing I say to do. The rest, there's a lot of speculation. Oh my God, it's a bubble on those lower altcoins, the bottom tier ones. Speaking about altcoins, Mitchell, any thoughts, any story of the week, anything I left off? And also, give us your opinion. Have you noticed that Ripple is like, what is up with that, man? Its prices been going up.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's talk about Ripple for a moment. I did get some messages the last time when I said that I wasn't a big fan of Ripple. The reason, of course, there is that I didn't understand the value proposition in the sense of the token and how it was connected to the business model. I still don't. I still don't see the direct connection between the value of the token and the business model. So Ripple is doing great business, which people love, which is pushing the price up, but it's not clear how the benefits of that business are going to flow back to token holders. So yeah, I'm concerned about this. I bet that the token, the Ripple token, has more value than the actual corporation in terms of market capitalization. So that's strange.
Yeah, but, it's valued at so much now. It's ridiculous. I mean, that's a bubble. I'm sorry. That's a bubble.
3.5 billion. And again, it's just not clear how that value is going to flow back. So I have no clue what's going on there.
Yeah, I think that might help Bitcoin in the long run when that thing starts to deflate. But do you have any excluding Ripple, did you have anything else to share? Anything that I left out or anything like that?
About alts, you mean?
No, about anything cryptocurrency related. The floor is yours.
Sure. There's a lot of activity going on. A lot of these projects are going to go very high. Keep your eyes open. The market is not your friend. When the market is changing, just watch out and hold. Don't get too fooled by the volatility.
Dude, excellent, man. You got that out. You're not going to die. You're alive, man. Get that cough out. All right. So I believe that's all my questions. I want to give everyone, Mitchell did his closing remarks there. Do you have any closing remarks, Eugene?
Just that, everybody should come on over to my channel and check out Bitcoin and Coffee. It's the best way to get your daily news in under 10 minutes on what's happening, and share a cup of coffee with me, Eugene Forrest.
Excellent. And Laura, and remember, all of their links are below. I link to all these guys, and remember to pound that like button, people. Pound that like button. Lorian, final thoughts.
Well, I agree with Mitchell. Don't get bothered by the short-term ups and downs, and don't think that it's heading to the moon just yet. Anything can mess with this. Buy and hold, definitely.
And,
actually,
sorry. Continue.
No, go for it.
No. I wanted you to say what you're going to say, and then I'll have a question.
I was going to say that my TED Talk's coming out in about 2 or 3 weeks' time, so I'll share that with everyone. It's on the virtue of cryptocurrencies, and it's specifically about how cryptocurrencies are going to save the world. It's a very positive take on the real value of cryptocurrency, and not just as a speculative asset or as a way to, for banks, and it's nothing to do with blockchain. It's specifically about cryptocurrencies.
I really look forward to that. That's
it's going to be awesome. But I have a question for you real quick, Lorian. Is there a favorite altcoin down there that you hear mentioned more than the others, or is it just a totally Bitcoin world when you're dealing in the cryptocurrency sphere in South Africa?
Well, we've got Monero, which comes from South Africa, I guess. We've got Fluffy Pony being South African. So, we've got to be proud of these guys that are doing it. And obviously Ethereum. Ethereum is massive here. There's a lot of companies that have a lot of investment, all building out Ethereum stuff. And also there's, the UN now has come out specifically saying we want blockchain projects, and it's pretty much based on Ethereum. So, I think Ethereum is by far, from a corporate perspective, from a business perspective, the most exciting, but I'm a Bitcoin maximalist. I'll say it I love Ethereum though. I love the technology, and I think smart contracts are amazing. I'm actually more optimistic in the long term about something like Rootstock, because having smart contracts on Bitcoin to me is just makes more sense. But I like the guys at Ethereum. They're great guys, and they're doing cool stuff. And I think there's a lot of potential there for Ethereum. So I would say Ethereum is big here, Monero is big here, Litecoin a little bit, and but Bitcoin for sure by far.
Now, speaking of Bitcoin maximalist, next week on this very show, Tone Vays will be part of the panel. And I'm sure everyone's going to look forward to that. Hey, and tomorrow we're going to have a Spanish show on this channel. That should be interesting, to say the least. Mitchell, you got the last word. What's going on? Anything else to say?
Yeah, my only comments would be to the community. So we are entering a new phase in the growth of blockchain and cryptocurrency. And this entire space is going to transform in a relatively short amount of time. Be careful of how things change. Do not get fooled. Just be patient, and see where the winds are going, and try to participate in it in the best you can. Because the way that blockchains really kick into play, and cryptocurrencies of all kind, that's beginning right now. We are nearing the point of critical awareness from which we will never return to market lows. So be aware, you're here at the right time.
Wow, well that is, I like that conclusion a lot. So tune in next week, probably around this same time, but always remember to come back to this channel every single day, because I post a new video here every single day. I'm Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Remember to subscribe to this channel, like this video, share this video, pound that like button right now. Spread the word. I thank you to my guests from all around the world for being on today. I'm going to join some of you guys in the chat in about 2 or 3 minutes as fast as I can. See ya. We had a blast. Bye-bye, everyone.
Ciao.